What if the key to peace in one of the world's most complex conflicts lies not in grand treaties, but in understanding two profoundly different truths? In the next 10 minutes, we're diving deep into the heart of the Rwanda-Congo debate. We'll explore why Rwanda argues its actions are a matter of survival, a desperate act of self-defense rooted in the trauma of genocide. We'll also hear why Congo sees this as a violation of its very soul, a story of exploitation and stolen sovereignty. By the end of this video, you will not only understand the legal and historical arguments from both sides, but you'll also see how your smartphone connects you directly to this struggle for justice. Stay with us as we unpack this story of survival, sovereignty, and the true cost of peace. In Central Africa, between the rolling hills of Rwanda and the vast forests of the Democratic Republic of Congo, lies one of the continent's most complex disputes, a story of security, minerals, history, and trauma. The tension between the two nations has simmered for decades, rooted in the aftermath of the 1994 Rwandan genocide and fueled by ongoing violence in eastern Congo. To help you, a Western audience, understand both sides, we bring two voices, two lawyers, each representing her nation's argument. Not as politicians, but as advocates for justice and peace. Rwanda's story begins with survival. After 1994, hundreds of thousands of people, including those who took part in the genocide, fled into eastern Congo. These groups reorganized into militias, most notably the for nearly 30 years. They have attacked Rwandan villages, killing civilians and threatening our national security. Rwanda has repeatedly asked Congo and the international community to disarm them, but little has changed. So when Rwanda takes action, it does so under Article 51 of the UN Charter, the right to self-defense. Our concern is not Congo's land or its minerals, but the protection of our people. The Congolese perspective is one of endurance and sovereignty. For decades, our people in the East have suffered displacement, exploitation, and unimaginable violence. We see Rwanda's presence not as self-defense, but as interference. Multiple UN and independent reports have linked Rwanda to armed groups, such as M23, that destabilize our provinces and exploit our mineral resources. If every country could justify crossing borders in the name of security, international law would simply collapse. Congo's plea is simple. Let our territory be ours again. Let sovereignty mean something. To a Western audience, this conflict might seem distant, but its effects are not. The minerals mined in eastern Congo, cobalt, coltan, gold power, the smartphones, laptops, and electric cars we use every single day. Every battery, in some way, carries a trace of this struggle. And while Rwanda is praised internationally for its stability and clean governance, Congo remains one of the world's most resource-rich, yet institutionally fragile nations. The question isn't just who controls the minerals, but who controls the path to peace. Rwanda flatly rejects this narrative of plunder. Our economic growth is built on transparency and innovation, not on conflict minerals. If resources cross the border, it's through trade networks that exist, because Congo cannot police its own frontier. We are being blamed for the failures of a state that, even after decades of international aid, cannot protect its own citizens or disarm violent rebels. Is Rwanda supposed to remain a hostage to Congo's instability forever? We have turned our own tragedy into progress. All we ask is that our neighbor does the same with accountability. Progress is not an excuse for intrusion. Congo's institutions are weak, yes, but sovereignty isn't conditional on efficiency. Rwanda's security concerns, however legitimate they may seem, do not justify the suffering of millions of Congolese displaced by violence linked to cross-border interference. True stability can never be built on denial. If Rwanda genuinely wishes to help, let it do so through transparency and diplomacy, not proxy militias. We don't need neighbors who guard their borders with our suffering. To Western ears, this debate echoes broader questions of international law. When does self-defense become aggression? How do we define sovereignty in regions where borders are porous and governments are weak? Rwanda fears a return to genocide. Congo fears the loss of its land and its dignity. Both sides invoke powerful moral language. Yet both operate in a world where moral clarity and strategic interests rarely align. Regional security has to be rebuilt, not imposed from the outside. Rwanda is ready for a joint verification mechanism, a shared military and intelligence framework with Congo, supervised by the African Union. But such cooperation can only work if it's built on trust and accountability. Congo demands that all foreign forces withdraw and that both our countries commit to total transparency in the mineral trade and arms flow. Agreed, but that requires Congo to first dismantle the militias that threaten our people, and that requires Rwanda to end all support to the groups that threaten ours. Only then can we begin to rebuild our shared humanity. For Western nations, the Rwanda-Congo crisis presents some uncomfortable truths. Peace cannot be achieved through speeches, while the global economy continues to buy minerals mined in war zones. Aid, investment, and diplomacy must all align toward stability, not dependency. If the West truly wants peace in Central Africa, it must start treating African security as more than just a humanitarian issue. It must see it as a strategic partnership rooted in justice and equality for all. Rwanda's past is a wound that never fully heals. Our actions stem from fear, but also from hope. We seek a region where our children can grow up without seeing borders as battlefields. Congo's pain is deep, but our hope is deeper still. We want our people to live without the fear of being pawns in someone else's security plan. Peace will come when our voices are finally heard as equals to women, to nations. One truth: peace is not a gift, but a contract. For those of you watching in the West, your technology, your policies, and your choices connect you directly to this story. The question is not just who's right, but who's ready to do what's right. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most critical issues of our time. If you found this discussion valuable and want to see more content that breaks down complex global topics, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue to bring these important stories to light. We have more dialogues like this coming soon, so stay tuned and we'll see you in the next video.